So we've been working on irrigating the garden, and I wanted to show you a little of what we did and what's working, and more importantly what has so far failed to work. So these are the strawberries, and what we did was I installed a 1/4-inch drip line everywhere. And as you can see, the strawberries over here are running off of a soaker hose. It's just the standard black plastic hose right here. This is a rigid plastic hose. I forget which type of plastic it is. And then it runs off to a 90-degree angle, which I didn't want to use, but anyway. But then it runs up here, and this is where it attaches. That's just a tent stake. It attaches to the soaker hose. Which works really well. It just puts out kind of an even amount of water, which is really nice. And then that ends right here, and I don't think it's made to do this, but we put on the end, this is just an end line drip valve, which just drips at a rate of 1 gallon per hour. And then over here you can see we're kind of trying an experiment where we have half the strawberries on that, and then these other strawberries are running off of that same rigid plastic hose, but every couple of feet or so there's one of these inline valves. Again, these are also a gallon per minute, and a gallon per hour, and they work pretty well. And I really like these. I prefer these to the other kind because they're really economical to install. You can put as many of them in as you want, and they drip pretty well. I think that one's going a little fast. Today I didn't have enough for everybody to get their own individual ones, so I've kind of tried to space in between. Some of them have to share one, like this guy. Some of them don't have one at all. That one's kind of in between. But like I said, it's really an experiment. And what we have, the water faucet is down there by the hose, and we have 1, 2, 3, and then right by the fence 4. We have 4 lines running down, and perpendicular we have a line running across, sort of like, if you've ever seen how pig iron is made, it's kind of like that, where you have one going across and then all those offshoots. It's called pig iron because the little offshoots there are supposed to look like the baby pigs, suckling. Anyway, that's a digression. And over here we have, these are going to be sunflowers. We have another soaker hose, which is working really well for the sunflowers. I just put that in today. Originally what I had done was I had put down just one hose, like the rigid plastic hose, and I had punched holes in it every, yay far apart. Which I thought would be more economical than using the little valves and stuff, but it was actually stupid because some of the holes, depending on how I punched them, some of the holes would spray like crazy, and some of the other holes I didn't punch enough and they'd plug up and they wouldn't do anything, so it became kind of an uneven mess. So I ended up actually ripping out the hose that ran all the way down here and across, and I put in this one instead, which I'm more happy with. And if you go down here, this is a less organized tour than I was thinking. This is where the sunflowers end, and then on this path we have dill, which is kind of growing in the weeds right now. And I put this is just a little pulley off of the inside of a dishwasher, with the little cart rides, and I got a bunch of them, so that's holding it in tension there. And then I found, at first, the first step to all this was I bought a kit, like an $11 patio kit for watering your plants, which really didn't, give me enough, and I quickly found out I ran out of these little tees here. These little plastic tee pieces really come in handy, because that's how you tee off and add a line from the main line here. So this one down here, there isn't really a lot attached to this one line. We have it zigging and zagging because eventually we're going to put probably more of those inline drippers, maybe sections of soaker hose, but have squash or something here. So I've tried to leave enough space for that. The other cool thing about the soaker hose that I've realized is if you have just like a parallel connector, you can actually splice in pieces of soaker hose as you need. So say you plant a bunch of seeds in one spot, you could have a soaker hose, or better yet, have like regular tubing and then a soaker hose kind of in a loop, and then you could splice into the regular tubing again. So we might try that at a later point. And these, again, we've been using tent stakes because they give you these really shitty little plastic stakes. I don't see one right now, but they don't really do much. They don't hold the line down well enough. But that line runs up and around, and it goes into the beans, which I just put this up moments ago for the beans. So we have one little group of beans here that are getting dripped on, and then the line just runs under and around and to the other little beans that we have getting dripped on. And then that line continues and ends right here at, I believe this is a cucumber here, and then this is just a piece of metal pipe. And I've been using, inner tubes have actually come in handy a lot for this project. I've been using bicycle inner tube cut to fit, and it just makes a nice little rubber band, and it holds it in place. What's nice about the inner tube is it's tight enough where you can like push this down if you wanted this down to the ground, like if it was soaker hose, and you want it touching the dirt, or you can pull it up a little. You don't want these guys, I don't think you want these guys touching the dirt because they'll clog pretty easily. That's another thing that's nice about the inline ones here, is because the little hole is it's right there, so the little hole's actually up and out of the dirt. If you've ever installed like a standard fuel filter in a car or small engine, they work a lot like that, where you install them in line and you want the flow to be going that same way. So there's a hole on this side because the water flows that way. And then we have another little ending there. And then this one tees. So the strawberries are actually fed by two. I'll go over here. These are, I forget what these guys are. Emily planted them, and she put rocks around them, and then I installed the line after the fact. So a lot of these guys, I don't even know what they are, but they look really cool dripping in line like that, like we planned this whole shit show. And here we have, I do know what this is because I planted, we have chives, big and little chives. And it's a similar state of affairs with them. We just have one inline there. And then, yeah, so that's where there's one, there's two, that's the one for the beans and the strawberries. And then this one here, that tee is for all of these guys. And then there's a final tee up by the faucet itself, which is for all of these. I'll get to that mess in a minute. We have another little strawberry here that we bought. Emily's sister gave us the strawberries over there. Before we knew we were getting them, we bought this guy and put him in a pot. So I rigged up another little line for him. But yeah, the never throw away a bike inner tube because they really work well for holding stuff on, and eventually they'll rot away and you'll have to replace them, especially with the sun, but you just cut more. And then that tees off down here, and it runs to another tee here. Another thing that I found when buying this kit, it came with these little kind of like electrical wiring things, like to hold wires onto the wall. They came with these little things. But the nails are maybe, I want to say like not even a half an inch long. They're really small, maybe 3/8. And so they'd invariably pull out of the wood as soon as I got them in. So I actually put in, I believe these are 1.5 inch, just common nails that I pulled out the ones they gave me and used these because they work better. And then this is all just regular, that tubing. We went through, like I want to say like 200-foot rolls of this, and then maybe a 50-foot. We went through a lot considering the garden isn't that big. But then this is the final tee, and and then it just runs up here to the faucet. And oh, I'm gonna get caught up on this, but I believe this is there's a pressure regulator, and then there's something else, and then there's the adapter to attach to the faucet. I can't quite remember what this is. One of them is, it's really important if you're installing it on a faucet with like a backflow preventer or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's what they gave me, so that's what I installed. These are grapes. They were here before we came. I should probably have a thing for them to get water, but I don't actually know how much water grapes like. We have to think about that more. So this is the part where it gets sad because, well, not sad, but these are all herbs, I think. And again, off of this tea, I have more little teas here, like that. And we're using these stupid-ass little sprinklers that I got. And I guess they're nice, like if you have a shrub or something and you can put it in the middle, or you know, you're watering like short flowers like phlox or something that you want down low and you want water evenly around it. I don't want to get the camera wet, but you can see they're spraying pretty well, except that one. There's always one that's fucky, like him. You'll see I can't get this one to work. The other ones, if you flick them, they kind of come to life, but this one just keeps on messing around. So every so often I turn him a little to manual sprinkler. But as you can see, the inside ring is dry and the outer ring is wet. And I turned it down a little. It was spraying the wood before. But I just don't think they're the best application, or I don't think this is the best application for them. Maybe they work for other things. But we have 5 of the little bastards, and what I'd prefer is to have just a soaker hose running kind of down and up and around. I think that would be better, at least until the plants got started. And then you can see this is where, you know, I nailed it. This is where we walk. So I nailed it down so we wouldn't trip. And then the strawberries actually run off of this. This was a pulley, another pulley from a previous one. I had like kind of a square line set up with the holes in it, which again didn't work. So this has to come out. But you can see it's dripping right along there. That's just a tent stake holding it in. But yeah, so it works. If I had to do it again, I would definitely get more. I would do the whole thing with just these inline drippers. Are really, really great. We've used like, gosh, probably 30 of those. And then, you know, the kit gave us a couple of the little end cap drippers like here, and you really don't need too many of those if you're putting it together right, as far as I can tell. One thing to be mindful of is you can't loop these systems. I had initially, where this comes out, I'd had like a big loop for the strawberries, thinking, oh well, the water will just go one way and go back. I don't know what I was thinking, but it didn't work, because you'd have half the strawberries getting watered, and then invariably the system, the pressure would back up, and so half of them wouldn't get water. So don't loop these. That's why we have 4 running all the way down. I figured it was better to have kind of a main line and then have offshoots than to have one line kind of circling and doing everything. I had tried that initially, especially when that all had holes in it. It wasn't even dripping halfway down. I initially had this whole line, the dill and all the sunflowers were on a line that I just poked holes in every like 5 inches or so. And the water would only drip about like a quarter of the way down the fence, and then like it just didn't come out. So all of this was dry, and in the corner there I had it turning at a 90-degree angle and feeding all of these guys, which was stupid and it didn't work. So I was quick to end it there, and put the strawberries on 2 separate systems, because I figured by the time the water gets all the way up the row, the pressure is going to peter out a little bit, and so I wanted the strawberries to have 2. I didn't want one line to have to do both. But I would definitely I definitely like the soaker hose, and I would use this soaker hose over here as well, because I think it's a better system, and these guys are getting watered much more equitably. Everyone's getting a little than these guys, which, you know, it's really puddling in the few places where there's one of those inline valves, but where there isn't, like this guy's right up close, but he's not getting any water, so he's shit out of luck. Where these guys are pretty much swamped. Inequality. But anyway, that's the way it is, and we have a hose for watering things that we can't get to. Oh, and there's a stream coming out of this guy because it's broken, and I tried to glue it, but I guess it didn't fully work. So we'll fix that. I'll probably take this one and take that one over there that's fucky and switch pieces so we at least have one sprinkler that works. But yeah, that's the garden. I hope you like it. We like it. Hopefully it's only April, like mid-April right now, so I guess it's a little late, but we're hoping by like summer we have a real nice garden. And it certainly kept us busy during the quarantine, though we're both working, so we do it like on the weekends. And over here we have, I'll just show you, Emily got a blueberry bush and a raspberry bush, and I can't tell them apart, but this is one, and then over there you can see by the compost pile there's another one. So they're pretty cool. And then that's our compost bin there, which I'm not going to show you right now. And that's what our house looks like. Anyway, that's it. All right, so long.